All right, Freak Show, Wild 94.1 Bay's party station. That Pac-Man is in the building right now. Will Packer, author, not just film guy, not just part owner of the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
Yes.
Not just FAMU alumnus.
Wow.
No, this man is back home because he has written a great book.
Wow. Mom, I'm home. I'm home, Mama. It sounds so crazy to hear you say all those titles. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things I talk about in the book is how you're building your brand from the time you're born to the time you die.
Yeah.
Everybody, all of us. I don't care what it is, what you do, right? You are literally telling the world who you are and how to value you. That's why I tell people, even if you're like in a position where you want to change, you want to get out of it, you're in a job that's temporary and you're like, you know what, this is not my passion. I'm not doing this the rest of my life. Fine, but please know you still got to go hard because your name is on it, your brand is on it, and people are ascribing value to you based on how you did it.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like, before I ever got big, I was delivering newspapers in Atlanta for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Bro, I was the best newspaper deliverer on my route. I was. Your paper got there on time. If it was raining, I double bagged it. It wasn't wet. But the point is that I took pride. I feel like y'all laughing a little too much because it was hard, guys. This is my triumph story.
Yeah.
And y'all are like, and I'm like, bro, people don't understand it was 10 years from when I graduated from FAMU to my first number one. So it wasn't like I just, overnight success over 10 years. You know what I mean? So it takes a long time. But anyway, my point with that, though, is we hear you name those labels, and I'm like, bro, yeah, I'm an author now.
Yeah.
I wrote a book.
But it's not a bad book.
Well, thank you.
Because
sir.
listen. I'm just saying, I wasn't expect you to be bad, but people try and write a book and realize how hard it is.
It's very hard. It ain't for everybody.
But you don't really shy away from the difficult, and that's what you learn in the book that you press through.
I got all these Hollywood stories, I've been in the game 30 years now. It's crazy, right? 3 decades. So I have stories that I've never told before, and I've learned so much dealing with these people, some of the most highly successful people, some of the most ego-driven people. Like, I've worked with some of the biggest stars in the world, some of the biggest business people in the world, whatever. And I realized there's like a set of skills that I have learned that are transferable. Whatever it is you do, you don't have to be in the movie business. And so I'm telling the secrets. I'm talking literally about how to live your best life, how to manifest an incredible life and or career, and understanding that idea of healthy arrogance. That's what the book is really about, because I've been around a lot of unhealthy arrogance.
Yeah,
so I'm like, okay, I can help some people out.
But no, I love it. I love the fact that the inspiring stories are there and you intertwine the Hollywood stories, but there's also an overlying theme of Black life. Like somebody can pick up this book and who is not Black, or they could be white, Latino, they can be any ethnicity, and they can get a lot of celeb stories and great. I mean, I laughed out loud a good 4 or 5 times where I was like, okay, I got to tell him it made me laugh.
I appreciate
because that's something too where your words can really carry. Yeah. But you also, it's the theme that you've had with everything that you had, that you share the Black culture with the world.
Yeah, try to tell stories that are universal stories. Try to tell stories that no matter who you are, what you look like. I am just somebody, listen, we live in a very polarized and unpredictable world, and it can give you anxiety. It can depress people. But at the end of the day, humanity will always win. And that is what it's all about. And you know what helps humanity to win and helps us to understand we're all in the same boat, Orlando, is when you realize that we have so much more in common. There's so much more commonality that we have than what divides us and what separates us. And one of the ways you can understand that is by taking a peek into other cultures.
Yes.
Understanding the authenticity of how other people who may not look like you, how they live.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my story. It's not a memoir. It's more of like inspirational motivation while I'm telling my story, telling stories of growing up here in St. Pete, right? Telling stories, obviously, of Hollywood and taking these movies out and having all the success I've had. But at the end of the day, it's through my lens, and I am who I am. But I'm welcoming you into that world and saying, this is how you could take this and take whatever position you're at and go further and go harder and build a blockbuster life.
Yeah. This is incredible because I was talking to my daughters, and my daughters were like, "Daddy, don't talk about us during the interview." And I was like, I'm like, well, it's gonna happen.
Too late.
But it was funny because when you got the honor roll, I give you a 9.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I'm not going to get all into it because I want people to get the book.
Yeah.
But I have that conversation with my daughters every time they bring me a grade. And they despise, your mom's answer is my answer. Like, that's when I knew we were cut. From, I mean, of course, we was on the yard at the same time and all this other stuff. But your mom was my parents.
Absolutely.
And they taught me that if you got a 99, that's awesome.
Yeah.
However, if you would have worked a little harder, my daughter immediately, her retort is always, Daddy, that's just rude. I got a 99. You can't be happy with a 99.
All you're saying, you're encouraging them. And I say this to all my parents. One of the reasons I've been so successful is that, you know, when I was young, my parents, they lifted me up like Simba in The Lion King. They put me on the edge of the cliff and they said, everything the sun touches is yours, my son. But that is how you have to do it with your kids. Like, you have to encourage them to absolutely be the best. I mean, the best that they can be. It is such a competitive world. It is such a world that's unpredictable. And the only thing you can control is your effort. You can't control what other people do, what systems do, how people try to hold you down, how they view you, how they may, you know, discriminate against you, whatever. Forget all of that. You know what you can control? You. You can control you and how hard you work. And what my mom said was, you ain't that great, but you could be. Oh. That's literally her quote. You ain't that great, but you could be.
That
Bars.
Cuts.
Yes.
That can cut a little bit too. Well, just hearing something like that, but then also on the other side, it can also inspire you. You've had so much success,
100%.
I mean, through your entire life. Can you talk about rejection? Because some people don't really understand all the rejection that you personally have gone through.
Yeah.
And struggles, and then see where you are right now.
Anybody successful you see, I don't care who it is. I don't care the industry. Anybody you see, you're like, yo, I want to be there. I want to be them. They have been through some ish. They have been told no way more than they got told yes, because you learn so much more from rejection than you do from failure. I got a thing in my book that I call the fortuitous no. Somebody tells us no, you either can crawl into a ball and die. Oh, my God, life is over, right? And it can be hard, especially when you get, I'm not talking about like, no, maybe next time. I'm talking about no, door slammed in your face, like hard rejection no. Yeah. You can either crawl into a ball or you can say, you know, they just hating. Like they just hating on me. I'm not listening to them, right? The answer really, though, is somewhere in between. Turn it into what I call a fortuitous no, where you find value in the no. Why is the person or entity, the job, the hiring manager, the person giving the contract, why did they say no? Is there something you can use to make whatever it is you're doing better?
Improve.
You know who I did that with? Beyonce.
Okay.
Oh. I have the movie Obsessed with Beyonce, Idris Elba, Ali Larter, right?
Yeah.
And I went to Beyonce with Obsessed. I already had Idris, I already had Ali, had my director. And Beyonce was looking for a movie, and we brought her that script, and she said, oh, wow, I really like it, but I can't do it. Right. And I said, well, why? I mean, it was hard. It was painful because she was very, like, Beyonce's an incredible person, but she's very, like, steadfast. And for sure, it wasn't like, I don't think I can do it. It was like, oh, this is a great script. I'm not doing it. Wow. Right.
Yeah.
It was very clear.
No.
I was like, you know what, Queen Bee, I want to apologize for taking this time out of your daily schedule. But she said no. And I just pushed and said, well, why? What are the elements that, you know, made you say no? What's holding you back? And we talked to her and she told me. I said, okay, great. And she said, listen, now you can change things if you want to, but that's on you. Do it if you want to do it for your project. I'm not promising you that I'm going to do your movie, and this is Beyonce. And so I said, I understand. And I went and actually made changes to the script that in the project that she had issues with. I came back to her. You know what she said? No. She told me no again. I said, but I made the changes.
How does he keep getting in here?
Yeah, exactly. Who is it? If you come again, I'm going to have security.
What made her say yes?
Shout out to the Beehive who know about Julian. She might have Julian put hands on her.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? She told me no 5 times, bro. 5 times. But it only took 1. And on that 6th time, I realized that I had removed all the elements that were holding her back. It had to do with schedule and script and some other elements. But it actually made my project better, right? So what I say to people is whatever your Beyonce is, you may never get a yes from your quote-unquote Beyonce. But if you end up with a better project, if you come out of the situation where you were told no or you were rejected with a better approach, a better perspective, a better resume, like whatever it is you're trying to do, if it's better, then that no helped you. It's a fortuitous no, right?
Yeah.
Don't look at all no's as negative because they aren't always. What can you glean from it? What can you take from the no and then be better because of it?
Yeah, you can always improve.
We got Will Packer in the building right now. He's going to be all over the Bay. I mean, he knows his way around. Let's just say that. But he'll be at Oxford Exchange tonight. It's already sold out.
Yeah.
Him and Stephen A. Smith are going to sit in there and tear apart the book, do a podcast and everything else. So we appreciate you sharing this day with us because as I told you before, I'm like, I don't want you to have a project and not have home.
Thank you, family.
Hear about your project. Because I remember I was on Sunset looking up at a billboard for Little.
Oh, yeah.
And I was standing there.
Shout out Issa Rae, Marseille Martin. Yep,
I'm
the movie
looking
Little.
up there and I'm like,
yeah.
And I got mad. And my homie, we was at right outside the Mondrian.
Yep.
And he's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, man, he from my home.
That's
he
my
from
guy.
St. Pete.
Sure is.
I'm like, why? He got billboards out here. I'm like, he should be on the air.
Yep.
And then I started I hit Titus that moment and said,
Yep.
put me in touch with him. He's like, you're going to be at the football game. Interject Titus voice right there.
Shout out Titus.
The voice of God.
Unnecessary deep voice, Titus.
Barry White Titus, So I mean, to have you here right now is a special thing, and I always tell you, you got an open door here. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we have to talk about some of the nuances of just what you've squeezed into this book. Just how it came together and how it differs from what you do on film. We got that coming up. Will Packer's in the building.
Orlando and the Freak Show.
We got Will Packer in the building right now, and we in here just he's dropping gems for us. And it's funny because this book, I was explaining that if people know Jim Gaffigan, it feels like that because you have an inner voice in the book that is just nailing it. And I mean, it seems like you structured it like a movie.
I did. I literally, so this book, it doesn't read like your normal self-help memoir book. It reads like a movie. And in there, I have, you know how in the movie you'll have a narrator that will come in and pop in every now and then. My narrator's keeping me honest. So I will go in the book and I will tell stories and I will go, and then I ran and jumped 10 feet and the narrator comes in and goes, Will Packer is lying. He did not jump 10 feet because he's not that great of an athlete. Let me tell you what really happened. So it's fun. You know what I mean? I intentionally wanted this book to be very entertaining while you have life lessons in it. So that way, if it's something, I've had a lot of people say that, you know what, I want my kids to read this book. I want my teenage daughter or son to read, like, you know, what my journey was like and how you overcome obstacles and how you deal with conflict, right? Or how you can build your confidence muscle, because confidence is a muscle. But it's also for people who are like grown adults looking to pivot. I've had people hit me like, you know what, I'm looking to make a change in my career and I've been afraid to do it, right? And one of the things I talk about in the book is how you can't let preparation paralysis hold you back. And that is when you are so much trying to be prepared for the next step that you don't take it, right? You know, people like that who are like, I'm going to. When you going to do it? Well, probably next year. You know what I mean? And that was 3 years ago that they said that. But the reality is that you're never going to be fully prepared to do something scary and do something hard. You'll never know everything. And there's power in naivete. So sometimes you just got to go out and start climbing the mountain. You got to just go for it. Don't let the preparation paralyze you. Sometimes you just got to do it.
I think also healthy arrogance speaks to your creative muscle because you could have just wrote a book. People write books all the time and they succeed at it. And they do audio books that are like, you know, they tell the story. Maybe they voice it themselves to be a little different. You couldn't just do it that way.
No, you're right.
Mr. St. Pete High could not just do a I mean, you talk about that aspect of what you did with this book.
Well, the audiobook is interesting. It's a full-on Will Packer production.
Amazing.
So if you're into audiobooks
And
like this one, you're going to love it. It has got sound design, sound effects. I've got the narrator is voiced by Regina Hall, the incomparable Regina Hall.
Oh my gosh.
I then called in my friends to be voices in my audiobook. So I've got Kevin Hart in the audiobook. I've got Idris Elba in the audiobook. Steve Harvey is in there. Carmelo Anthony. Like, I called all these people in to be a part of the audiobook so it reads. I want it to feel like a movie. There's music, sound effects, the whole nine. It's a Will Packer production, though. You know, I couldn't just read it and then he went to the store. Like, no. It is very entertaining.
I want to talk about Kevin Hart real quick because you just brought him up.
I'm always happy to talk about that short spawn of Satan. What do you want to know about him?
I'm
And then the Eagles won too. I can't stand it. He's already an
can't even
obnoxious
deal with
little,
him right
oh my
now.
God. He is completely obnoxious right now.
But on the back of the book, he's in true Kevin fashion. He's like talking about it, like everything he said is not true. Okay, it's true, but it's so funny, and it's like so he was talking about that they're true and they're funny. I want you to talk about like one of the craziest Kevin Hart stories, like the funniest.
Starts the
ones.
book.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the first story in the book is how when we made Think Like a Man, that was a #1 movie based on Steve Harvey's book, right?
Yeah.
But it was an ensemble comedy. Our very next movie, Kevin was the sole comedic driver, and it was the biggest budget either of us had worked with to that point. It was called Ride Along. I remember that joint
With Cube.
with Ice Cube, OG Ice Cube, right? So Kevin Hart, Ice Cube, the movie's going great. He calls me to his trailer. He's like, yo, next Friday, I need to get off a little bit early. I got a comedy show. I'm like, next Friday? I was like, let me check the schedule just to see. I go to schedule. I'm like, oh, wait, Kev, first of all, next Friday is a big day, but also we have a rare Saturday shoot. So that's the worst day to try to get off early and go do some show somewhere. Is it in Atlanta? No, it's not in Atlanta. I said, well, no, you can't do that. So we shoot Saturday. He's like, do we shoot Saturday? You know when somebody's lying, they get that high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
Kevin's lie goes really high. Do we shoot? I didn't realize that. Will, do we shoot Saturday? I said, Kev, you know we shoot Saturday. He's like, okay, listen. I wouldn't ask you this, but it's a big comedy show. I'm actually filming my next special at Madison Square Garden next Friday night. I'm like, bro, and you telling me the week before? What are you talking about? Kevin Hart fans will know this is the Laugh at My Pain comedy special.
Absolutely.
So,
And it killed.
bro, it killed. And the reason I know it killed, Orlando, is because Kevin convinces me. He's like, listen, it's a big deal. I want you to be there. I tell you what, I got a private jet. I'm going to New York, and you and the director, bring your wives, and then you'll make sure we can go up and come right back that same night so we can shoot on Saturday. You'll be there with me to make sure everything goes right. And I did exactly what you did. I said, aw, that's so thoughtful of you, Kevin Hart.
Nice.
And so I end up on this jet at his show in Madison Square Garden. It's amazing. It's fun. If you look at it, you can see me and my wife in the front row showing all our teeth. We are there just laughing. Right? After the show, all of a sudden there's an after party. What after party? We don't have time for an after party because we got to get on the jet to get back in a certain amount of time, right? And so he's like, yeah, they saying I got to do this after party. Who is they? That's not named Kevin Hart or Will Packer with all this money on the line, right? Long story short, you got to read the book, but I end up in a nightclub, in a New York City nightclub with Kevin Hart and Carmelo Anthony coming in with 30 waitresses. Each of them have a bottle in each hand. That's 60 bottles, boys and girls, those of you who not that good at math. 60 bottles, sparklers, a DJ is playing music. Carmelo comes right up to me and Kevin goes, guys, we gonna die tonight. I said, what? We can't die tonight. I gotta shoot in the morning. We can die after we rap. We can die during playoffs, right? Because the Knicks sucked back then. I was like, y'all won't be in it. Let's not die tonight. I had to beg Carmelo Anthony for a die tonight rain check and get a police escort to get us, because if you didn't make it to the airport, it was Teterboro, which is a private airport in New York, in a certain amount of time, my pilots were going to time out, and I would have missed getting back in time. Here is why he is the spawn of Satan. Because if the actor of a movie leaves to go do a show and it's just that actor, the studio is going to be very upset, and it's that actor's fault because they would have wasted the money, right? But if the producer of the movie
And the director
is with him and the director, but at the producer's back, like I have agreed.
Right.
I'm sitting there in this nightclub looking at my whole career go down the toilet. I look at Kevin and he goes, well, we tried. We tried. What? It was in that moment I realized it was all part of his evil plan.
Yeah, of course.
The point of that, Orlando, in the book is that you always have to expect the unexpected in life and in business. And when people show you who they are, you have to believe them. That's not just true in relationships. That's true in business as well. I knew Kevin Hart was the type that would double book himself, and he caught me off guard. He's never done that to me again because I know you have to know how people are, know their tendencies, know their traits, know what's important to them, know what they value and what they don't value, and then you adjust accordingly. only. That's how you run a successful business. He got me. He got me in New York that time.
But
He's
you learned.
never got me again.
You learned from it.
I
though.
learned from it, and now I want you to learn from it.
Yeah.
Never trust Kevin Hart.
Never.
It's funny too, where it's like, what did you say about Carmelo Anthony? Like, what does he buy his gloves?
Yeah, I just remember Carmelo came up and hugged Kevin, and Kevin Hart disappeared. I was like, Jesus Christ. The movie's over because my star is gone. Where did he go?
Now the Leon Lett story, I have to take that and just put it up on my door somewhere, because that honestly is a great lesson about carrying it all the way through.
100%.
And we all know the Leon Lett sports story, but
Yeah.
you made it seem so. It just opened for inspiration.
Yeah.
And how people just, it's not how you start.
No.
It's not about an incredible middle.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
no.
how you nail it all the way till the end.
Yes. The chapter's called Finish the Damn Deal. And so you may remember Leon Lett. He had a fumble recovery in the Super Bowl, running to the end zone, was about to score a Super Bowl touchdown as a 300-pounder. Like, this would have gone down in history. Well, he went down in history.
Let me tell you, as a fat guy. He would have been. He'd had parades.
Listen,
Comes up in ESPN.
Oh my
all
God,
the time.
he was my inspiration. I
All
was like,
the
so
time.
get
many
it, fat
people.
man, get it, fat. Oh, he didn't mess it up.
the problem was he started dancing. He started doing the Get It Fat Man dance before he crossed the end zone. And a little scrappy wide receiver named Don Beebe came and stripped the ball right before he crosses the end zone. The Tyler chapter is Finish the Damn Deal, because how many people do we know that don't work hard all the way through? You have to finish it. I don't care. Until it's over, it's not over. And you got to work very, very hard until the very end. I will never forget, Think Like a Man came out, and we were slated to make $22 million that weekend. And I knew that because on Friday, the numbers came in. The first day of the weekend, Friday, the numbers were great, and they do a calculation that tells you how much the movie's going to make throughout the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And so they projected, we're going to make $22 million. I called Steve Harvey right away. Steve, we got one, dog. You know what I'm saying? We made the budget of the movie back in the opening weekend. And he goes, oh, man, that's great. He was like, but it's Friday. Like, how do you know it's going to make? And I was like, Steve, let me just explain
I got
to you. You do comedy. You do Family Feud. Like, mess up Miss USA. Like, let me tell you how this works, Steve, okay? It's a formula. It's a calculation. He was like, no, I get all that. He was like, but it's still Friday. But whatever. If you happy with the number, I'm happy. You worked hard. Congratulations, Will. I'm proud of you. And he hung up the phone.
Oh.
It stuck with me,
Yeah.
what he was saying, because he was like, it's not over yet. I promise you, Orlando, I call all my cast from Think Like a Man, because you know how now you see like movie stars pop up, you know, like the Marvel stars will pop up at a theater and surprise audiences. We started that. We started that back then, and I would have Gabrielle Union and Taraji P. Henson and Michael Ealy, Jerry Ferrara, Terrence J., whoever.
Makes it so special.
Show up to the movie theaters and surprise people. I called them all that night, and I said, guys, it's not over. I know y'all been working hard, but we still got 2 days left in the weekend. Who can go to various theaters around the country based on where they were? And I called them that Friday night. Half my stars were drunk. I'm going to tell you the truth, because they were so happy that we had an opening. Yeah, because I had made that same call, like, hey, we won, y'all. So then I was like, hey, wait a minute. We didn't win. It's not over. Who else can go out? I need you to send out tweets and emails and the whole thing. By the time that weekend was over, we were projected to make 22. Think Like a Man made $33 million.
Talk with him.
Nice.
Look at
Because we did not give up, and because we finished the damn deal. And in life, you got to keep going until it's over. And my now amazing Atlanta Falcons, I tell the story how at 28-3 we started celebrating too early against the New England Patriots, because the Falcons
Joey loves that
story. The damn deal. Is Joey a Patriots fan?
Yes.
You know what? Joey, you better watch your back, brother, because we Falcons, we still a little tight about that. But you got to fit the whole city. Leon Lett it. That's my point. It's like I was at the stadium. I was at that Super Bowl, and I got a call from somebody in the mayor's office, and they were planning the victory parade for the Falcons. It's
before the game was over.
It was in the third quarter, Orlando.
No.
It was in the third quarter, and we were up by so much, and they were like, "Oh
28-3.
yeah, who's in town? We need the celebs who's gonna come. We're gonna do the parade. It's gonna be on Tuesday at such and such a time." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm there. I'm in the section. I'm dancing." The problem with being like so hype and loud and dancing is that once we went to overtime, all them Patriots fans that saw saw me talking trash in the first 3 quarters, I was real easy to find. I was the only black dude in the section, which was very cool in quarters 1 through 3. It was very lonely in overtime when Mr. Tom Brady does what Tom Brady does.
Let me tell you. I mean, go ahead. You were about to ask something.
You've worked with so many wonderful actors, actresses over the years, and you're going to, the list is gonna get longer, of course, in the future. I don't know if you kept up with the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively situation, where he's alleging that she kind of took over the movie.
How could you not?
It's everywhere.
So,
It's everywhere.
right. In your positions with movies, have you ever worked with an actress or an actor that's actually tried to step in a little bit too much?
With the director, like overstep the director,
Yes.
and all the time. All the time.
So it happens often.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I mean, it's rare that stuff like this spills over into the headlines. But one of the things about the movie business is that it's a very adversarial industry. You got a lot of egos and a lot of people that are always feeling like, I'm the most important person in this room and on set. That's unhealthy arrogance, by the way. That's toxic arrogance. And my job as a producer is to navigate all those personalities. And one of the things that I try to get all my actors, directors, writers, everybody who is in this very, very, tense situation sometimes, is to keep the main thing the main thing. Let's all stay focused on the ultimate goal, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not about you as an actor, you as a director, me as a producer. It's about us and the project. Put the project first. I have a thing in my book called Take the Thunder Out. And that is this concept that if you're involved with a conflict with somebody, if you're just yelling and screaming, nothing's getting done. Yeah. Oh, you're yelling, telling me you're right, and I'm telling you you're wrong, and we're just arguing, right? And we're trying to win this battle, but there's a war raging. You got to stay focused on the bigger picture. And take the thunder out means, can you go into an adversarial situation and own your part in it? If you can walk in, never underestimate the value of a well-placed apology. People think coming in and apologizing is a sign of weakness, and it is the exact opposite. You have all the leverage in a conversation when you come in and you tell somebody, you know what, before we even get started, I just want to apologize for my part in this, because there's things I could have done differently that I didn't do the right way, that I would change if I had it to do all over again. So I want to just start this by saying, let me own my part in it. You have immediately taken out, because they were ready.
Yeah.
They were so ready for you to come in and say how you were right. People cannot wait. They want to argue. When you come in and you say all of that, now you take away all the stuff that they wanted to argue about, and you can get closer to focusing on what is the actual ultimate goal. Yeah. So don't worry about winning battles. Win the war.
Yes.
Keep your eye focused on the ultimate goal. That's what I try to do in those high-pressure Hollywood situations.
Rest in peace, Paul Walker.
Absolutely.
I mean,
the Paul Walker story. Orlando
really
read the book. I was worried because it's not a lot of pictures in the book, guys, and so I didn't think Orlando was going to make it very far in, to be honest with you.
Hey, man, he's picking on my dorm. He's picking on my dorm because Samson Hall we weren't readers.
They were not
we were picture lookers.
Academically astute at Florida A&M University. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We were picture lookers.
Orlando stayed in the athletes dorm. I stayed in the scholarship dorm. That's what it was. I was in Gibbs Hall.
Big difference.
Yeah, it was a big difference.
Whatever.
They had the girls, but we had the careers. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
I was just saying he turned down Netflix and chill to read your book. So.
I saw something about that online. Listen,
Stacey's so mad.
Not the smartest choice. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like
you see,
I feel like the book would have been there, Orlando. It wasn't going anywhere, but whatever. I'm appreciative, my brother.
Under the comments, you said, this is a cuddleable book.
Yeah, it is.
It's cuddle worthy.
It ain't quite the same. You know what I'm saying? Not the choice I would have made. I'd been like, pause on the book, put that bookmark in. What's up, baby? Hey.
It is a great day. Will Packard agree with me other than Orlando? Good day.
Listen. All right, listen, we have Will Packer in the building. He's going to be at Oxford Exchange, and he's going to be there with Stephen A. Smith, and Titus O'Neill's going to be there. Sheffield's going to be there.
Gary
Big
Sheffield.
Shout out to Gary.
Absolutely. Derek Brooks.
People come out for you, though, man. It's like it's a celebration.
It's amazing.
How does it feel to get that? Because you get it everywhere. Every red carpet is yours. People love on you. Press lines. But this is home.
It's different. It is nothing like coming home. Nothing like having the people who were so important to your foundation, right? Like whether you knew me in high school or middle school or not, like you're a part of my community and my foundation. This city, right? This Tampa Bay area created me. I am who I am because of the foundation that I got right here. So somebody listening right now thinking, oh, I'm so far away from Hollywood or New York or Milan or Paris. I don't care where you want to be in the world. You can go anywhere from right here because I did it. I got the foundation right here. I went to public high school in Pinellas County, right?
Pinellas.
St. Pete High School. Pinellas,
right.
baby. Shout out to the other side of the bridge. You know? We used to sneak across the bridge to try to get to Ybor City because, you know, you could drink as a teenager. And so we would try to come over here. Even though, for the record, I did not drink in high school. I would fake it. That's another thing. Because I wanted to be cool. So I would actually take the drink and act like I was drinking it, but I knew I couldn't come home with that on my breath because my mama didn't wasn't playing that.
Yeah.
I had those parents, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so it was interesting because I used to hang, all my friends was white in high school. And so I would hang with the white kids. They'd be like, I'm just telling my mom what time I'm coming home. I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, that's good for you. If you want to see me at school on Monday, you better get me home by 9:30 because that's my curfew.
Street lights turning on.
I wish Cheryl would try that with me. Who is Cheryl? My mom. Okay, we don't live the same life. So I was an obedient kid in high school. I just want to point that out. But the point is, this foundation and this community raised me, and I'm so proud of it, Orlando. This is when I come home and when I have an event like this and it sells out, it's like, it's crazy. It's such validation. It really, really is. And it's validation for years of pouring into a career and a life that is well lived and that I'm so thankful and grateful for.
Everybody in the Bay Area, I will tell you that the stars are in this book, but one of the stars is St. Petersburg. Mm-hmm. It's the city. Just the whole theme is how you came up through. Right. I mean, you're shouting out mermaids and all these other spaces. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's things where you're going to find nuggets because we have to see ourselves in things like this to feel like we can be bigger, like feel that we can go that far. And I mean, I know we're cut for time, but I want to ask you this, out of all of the themes that are in here and that you are motivating people with, how important is finding your rib? Finding your partner, because when you told the Leon Letts story and when you told the mayonnaise mafia thing with you and Heather, it's people who watch you. It wasn't hard to fathom because y'all feel like y'all are cut from the same cloth, and y'all. If it's up, it's up with y'all. Both of y'all going.
If it's up, it's up.
How important is that to have in this whole series of finding success?
That's so important, Orlando. My life has changed since I found my wife, Heather, and she is literally my best friend. She is, on the road with me as she always is, right, as we're doing this tour. The reality is that, and I tell people this all the time, we live in a world where you have to protect your energy. We all have a finite amount of energy that we can give out to the universe. And the universe is always trying to pull at you and distract you and, get your attention. But the reality is that people are either augmenting your energy or they are draining it. It is binary. It's one or the other, right? And you have to look at the people closest to you. I have always said that one of the best business decisions that I have ever made was finding and marrying my wife. Wow. Because when I go into a situation, I don't care what it is, and the person across from me that I have to negotiate with or get something from, they're in a toxic situation, and they live with somebody who's told them what they're not and what they can't be, and they didn't even want to come home last night. And I've had a wife that is telling me, baby, you got this. Go slay the dragons. You have what it takes. I believe in you. I am so much better and more equipped to go out into the world that day. And so oftentimes, and people don't like to hear this, the person and the people, right? It may not just be a romantic relationship, but the people around you are draining your energy. And you can't compartmentalize that. It's like having an arm with gangrene and you're like, yeah, but my feet are good. I can still walk. No, your body is dying. You got to cut the arm off. And people hate it when I say that, but it's the truth. Be very honest when it's just you in a quiet moment. Be honest about who is around you and are they helping you? Do they see the world the same way? Are they adding value to your life? That is Heather for me. She has value to my life and she allows me to be as successful as I am because she is my rock. You got to find your rib. And the right one. Don't just stay with somebody because you've been with them for so long. Right? That's not going to get you to where you want to be. It's one of those stories about being successful that people don't want to hear. But that is the truth. The person that is closest to you is either lifting you up and taking your energy to the next level or holding you back.
I got to tell you, this is one of the few books that I have read where I'm like, I told both of my daughters, I'm like, I'm buying each one of y'all your own copy. Because the stories in here mean something, and I think that it's gonna travel to every ethnicity. I think people are gonna understand whether it's business, whether it's family, whether it's just motivation. I mean, when your kids didn't show up for the video and, you know, that whole thing.
Hurt my feelings.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
told
But
that,
dealing with that part and then some of the heartache that you had as well, it all matters. So I just want to say salute to you. And this, I mean, the book is called Who Better Than You? It is The Art of Healthy Arrogance and Dreaming Big.
Yes.
It is by Will Packer. So we just want to say congratulations.
This means everything.
We're proud of
Thank you, family. Thank you. It's always good to be here, but especially Orlando, from you, my brother, my hometown, home team, FAMU. Like, brother, I love you, man, and I appreciate you. You have always given me an opportunity and a platform. Even when I didn't know I had the platform, you were trying to find me and reach out. You are in a position where you influence people and you have a lot of power, and it's up to you how you use it. You use it responsibly. You're imperfect like I'm imperfect, but you allow people to see that. That is so powerful and important. So never, ever, ever underestimate the value. You don't have to be Orlando and have a big old radio platform. Your platform may be something smaller. Never underestimate the value of using what you have to lift others up. That is what you do, my brother. So thank you. I want to give your flowers publicly right now on the air. I appreciate you, family.
Man,
thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
Sweet.
Boy, look at that fam love
I
up
know.
in there. I'm just
Love,
saying.
y'all. Family.
It comes from the highest
All
of
day.
7 hills.
Yes, sir.
Come on
Yes,
now.
sir.
All right, y'all, listen. Get this book. Get the audio book. Spend some time with it. And then sit down and talk about it. It's going to be a movie. I'm telling you right now.